Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Marie Yambo. Glad you could make the time to join us today. Now, from the earliest stages of childhood development to adulthood, nutrition is key to a healthy population. In the recently released Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, KDHS 2022 report, 18% of children under the age of 5 are stunted or too short for their age. This is a sign of chronic undernutrition. Now, 5% of children under the age of 5 are wasted, that is to say, too thin for their height, which is again a sign of acute undernutrition, while 3% of children under the age of 5 are overweight, which is a sign of overnutrition. Now, to help us understand what these numbers mean is John Anampia. He is the Assistant Director of Population, National Council for Population and Development. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks Marie, thanks viewers. I'm happy to be here.
Asante sana. We have a lot to talk about it as far as child nutrition and even adult nutrition is concerned.
Yes.
But let's start from the point where, what is the level of child nutrition in Kenya, especially under 5s?
Ah, wow. Now, the level of childhood nutrition, I'll look at three measures. I'll look at 3 measures of under 5 nutrition status or malnutrition. One is stunting. According to the DHS 2022 Kenyan Demographic and Health Survey, stunting stands at 18%.
Yes.
Then wasting stands at 5%, and underweight is at 10%. That is the status at the moment. Yes, of the 3 indicators.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the trends then in childhood malnutrition in Kenya?
Yeah, the trends are encouraging. I can say we can start from a positive observation that the trends are encouraging, which means the programs tailored to reduce the 3 measures or to improve on the 3 measures are working. However, they are not working according to expectation. We realize stunting has declined by about 55%, while underweight has declined by about 47%, below 50%, and wasting has declined the least among the 3, 29%. So it means something is not working. And I'm talking about 1993 to 2022. How many years are that? Years? 3 decades?
Yeah.
About 3 decades or
about
more.
that, yeah.
So it means, although there is decline, we have not attained where we would have liked to be, because no child should be exposed to stunting, to underweight, being underweight, in the concept of leaving no one behind. You know, the SDG goes, leaving no one behind. Now, one of the consequences of that is that we may not be able to achieve the SDG goals on Goal 3 targets on reducing neonatal mortality to 12 per 1,000, from the current 12 per 1,000, reducing under 5 mortality from the current situation of 41 per 1,000 to 25 per 1,000. Those are the 2 targets. So indirectly, the inability to improve on this, we are not likely to achieve the child survival targets by 2030. That's a challenge.
That's the challenge.
So for us to do that, we must accelerate. We must find ways and means of accelerating the trends or the decline in these childhood malnutrition status.
Okay.
We reduce them to 1-0.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about the levels of malnutrition. You've talked about stunting, you know, wasting, and even being overweight.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But stunting tops.
Yes, it is top of the agenda in terms of prevalence.
Prevalence.
Yes.
What is causing this?
Now, stunting.
And that means you know, a child being too short.
Too short for their height.
Yeah.
Too short for their age. Yeah, too short for their age. It's a multiplicity of factors. One is, if you look at the same DHS 2022, we found that it is only that 1% of our children under 5, aged 6 to 23 months, it is only 60%. It's only that 1% who had attained the minimum acceptable diet.
Oh.
Okay? So that's the one, which means the opposite did not achieve the minimum acceptable dietary diversity. All right? You remember in primary school the rule of 3.
Yes.
Vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates.
Yes.
Okay? Now that's one. Of course, stunting could be a biological factor, but that should not make us comfortable when you are seeing the level being at that level of about 18%. There is a biological genetic aspect of it, but we should be more concerned on the environmental aspect of it. So lack of food. And you find also poverty. There's a strong relationship between, or a positive relationship between stunting and household poverty. So is maternal education. Yeah? So is breastfeeding. One of the hidden secrets there again is that you find that children below 5 months are supposed to be exclusively breastfed.
Yeah.
Meaning they should be only fed on mother's milk.
Yeah.
Okay? But you realize that indicator, you find that according to the same DHS, it is only 60% of the babies that were enumerated and exclusive breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And you know the mother's milk is almost self-contained in terms of nutrients. So those are some of the underlying factors that have, or immediate, proximate factors that have kept the scenario the way it is. So for us to move forward, we must address the barriers that make women not breastfeed.
Yeah, definitely we'll be delving to talk about that. What then are some of the barriers that are leading to childhood malnutrition and all that, but making us understand the effects in themselves.
Yes.
We definitely know that when a child is undernourished, that means the survival rate also goes down. You know, if at all they survive and they're able to go to school, but then again we understand they will be affected in terms of their cognitive and all those kind of aspects.
Yes.
So maybe you could just paint for us a picture, because stunting, from at least the little that I know, also affect your brain growth. In the sense that you cannot compare the brain of a child who is well malnourished. I mean, who's well nourished, and a child who's malnourished.
Although I'm not an expert in nutrition, I'm an epidemiologist or a demographer, I would say that a child who is stunted or experience some delayed milestones in life, that child is likely to take more time to understand 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Okay, can take 2 weeks. Well, a well-nourished baby will know that one even before enrolling for not about P1, P2, the lowest grade. So it means that that child will be disadvantaged from the one go in terms of development, in terms of knowledge. Also physical development. Okay, you are started, you will not be able to become another Kipchoge to break your own record. Yeah. So participation in adulthood activities like playing football and the others, you are compromised. Yeah. Besides the skills, the knowledge, the IQ. So those things that will lead also, even when they come to the workplace, they also suffer some kind of deficiencies. Okay. They will not be able to even perform as well as those who are well nourished.
So the impact.
And then again, that if you are malnourished, you are more susceptible to disease than those children who are well nourished. Okay. So probability of getting a disease, and that's disease leading to chronic morbidity and mortality, is higher than those children who are well off.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are some of the actions that you think would improve the status of nutrition of our children in the country?
One is coming up with ways and means of ensuring that every child has access to basic nutritional requirements. That's number one.
Okay.
Besides genetic and all that, we should address or make sure that all children have access to that. And that is the age of 0 to 5. 0 to 5. And for us to attain that, we must make sure that also our healthcare system is strong enough to provide information and services. Nutritional supplement should also be available enough. We should not have any stock out in nutritional interventions at the health facility. But you see, if the distribution is a challenge, accessibility is a challenge, then we shall continue leaving some of those families behind. Then we need targeted poverty reduction interventions, targeted, trying to reach the poorest of the poor and people with disabilities. All right?
Yeah.
People living with HIV. They have children, they cannot breastfeed. Those children should be put on alternatives, sources of nutrition. Alternative nutrition formula, so that they don't get disadvantaged because of the inability of the mother to breastfeed.
Okay.
So we should have targeted interventions, call it affirmative action.
Okay.
Then, in terms of, we have national and county government. We should prioritize, because if you realize this is the future, you cannot perform in the army if you are stunted and weak. So you should look at participation, labor force participation in future. So when this child is compromised, is an asset of the state. So the development of human capital is compromised.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the state should prioritize policies that promote childhood nutrition.
Okay.
And then, policies and implementation. At the county level, nutrition status of under 5 should be a priority. It should be a scorecard for the governor. All right? So that you'll be assessed according to how you eliminate under 5 malnutrition. Instead of building, opening gates, opening doors, opening so many things, you can open human capital. All right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And what about coming up with policies that encourage, breastfeeding at workplaces? Sections where women, it's being done, but I'm not so sure at what level we are. But a lot can be done to improve it. How can that impact?
I said that 40% of children are not enjoying exclusive breastfeeding for various reasons. One of them is work-related. There is no breastfeeding corner. So we should, as much as we are trying to give leave, account mothers maternity leave, we should also allow them to breastfeed the children exclusively. And you realize that where exclusive breastfeeding is lacking among the elite women, you realize that now there is a misplacement, because you find children who are malnourished, who are stunted, and they're in Modaiga.
Yes.
You see? So, and then you leave the children with the milk, and the maid may not even remember, even if you squeeze the milk.
Okay.
And they leave it to the maid. Maybe the maid is annoyed, has not been fed. So you may punish the child.
Yeah.
So having breastfeeding corners should be encouraged.
Should be encouraged.
Yes.
We talked about undernutrition and all that, but there is also another trend, and that is the overnutrition. And this is actually happening a lot more in urban areas, and like you said, in elite homes. Maybe you could talk to that also. Yeah,
overnutrition is a question of taking a lot of calories in the context of sedentary living. But when it comes to children, I'll talk about adults later, but when it comes to children, is that feeding children on this processed junk food.
Junk food, yes.
You think you love the baby and you leave the maid. After 2 years, for instance, you provide no form of food to the baby. The baby does not require that. You approach a nutritionist, you'll be advised accordingly on what to give the baby. So trying to, this is occurring in urban areas where even availability of those traditional foods is not available. But these children who are under 5, you have to be very cautious. You must approach a nutritionist to guide you on what is the minimum dietary requirement for the child.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we've talked about, nutrition in as far as children are concerned.
Mhm.
So now let's get, because even in the introduction you said that nutrition is key right from,
Yes.
early development
Yes,
all the way
yes,
to
yes,
adulthood.
yes, I agree, Marie.
So just let's start with the basics. What is being overweight? What is overweight and obesity? Is there a difference between the two?
Oh, yeah, there's a difference. One is that overweight, how we compute this? How do we attain, how do we say an ampere is overweight? We have to take an ampere's weight in kilograms,
Yeah.
and then divide it by height in meters
Yes.
squared. So that ratio is what produces what we call BMI,
Yeah.
body mass index. So those who are overweight are those who are weighing, who have a BMI exceeding the maximum acceptable weight. Maximum, according to WHO. Maximum acceptable weight, which that is a BMI of equal to or above 25, BMI of 25.0.
Okay.
That's overweight. Overweight is between 25.0 to 29.9. That's overweight.
And that is both male,
Male and female.
Okay.
And then for obesity is BMI of 30 and above.
Okay.
That is now obesity. I know there are levels of obesity, but that is critically the measure. We have underweight. Underweight is a BMI of less than 18.5. Okay? Kilograms per meter squared.
So what are the trends? What are the trends that we're seeing in terms of
Now, what
overweight
we are
and-
seeing is that, and unfortunately for men, I can say that the state where we are today, for women, it is overweight and obesity we usually combine because they are subcategories. They are a risk factor to most cardiovascular diseases. So we categorize the two. So overweight and obesity in Kenya today among women stands as 45%. When you mention of trends, you ask me where we were in 1993. It was only 15% of our women aged 15 to 49 who were overweight or above. But what is surprising is that overweight and obesity among women aged 20 to 49 is now has increased by 200%.
So women are leading.
Women are leading, and it is on the rise. But men, the figure is not so worrying according to 2022 DHS.
Okay.
It stands at 19%. So the burden of overweight and obesity are
Is
taken a female dimension.
Okay, a female dimension.
Yes.
So what is the impact of that?
The impact, one of the impact of that, these women, remember, we have women of reproductive age. Evidence shows that these women are at a higher risk of neonatal and neonatal death, morbidity and mortality, which means babies born to these women who are overweight and obese are more likely to die before 1 month of their lives.
Really?
Complications of postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding, excessive bleeding after delivery. The evidence shows that these women are at risk of higher postpartum hemorrhage. Number two, this is now relating to, because of their age, the women of reproductive age. But in terms of non-communicable diseases, they are more at risk of hypertension, they are more at risk of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, they are more at risk of sudden death through cardiovascular diseases. Why you just collapse and die? Okay? And they are more at risk of generally all non-communicable diseases.
Okay.
Higher risk. So when our women are carrying the highest burden of this risk factor, because obesity, overweight is a risk factor for non-communicable stroke, cardiovascular diseases, like heart diseases.
Yeah.
So it means our women are not safe.
Mm.
And you see 45%,
Yeah.
so, and you are multiplying by the population.
Mm-hmm. Earlier we did talk about, women taking the hardest hit when it comes to overweight and obesity and
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
And we talked about nutrition transition.
Yes, yes.
We definitely know it's the issue of processed foods, but probably
Yeah.
you could just, in a few seconds, just talk about that.
Nutrition transition is that I can define it as that shift from the traditional foods, that we grow in our farms, to processed foods found in supermarkets and sometimes in hotels. All right. Now, because of this accompanying process of urbanization and expansion of towns, we are quickly urbanizing,
Adapting.
and we are trained. This problem is not yet over, because far from over, because we are told that by 2050, the larger part of Africa will be urban, meaning majority of the population will be living in urban areas.
Yeah.
And urban residence is a risk factor. So what I can say is that women have shifted also from traditional ways of doing things, working in the farm. They have adopted more sedentary occupations, like selling in a shop, in a rice shop, as opposed to digging in the farm. And
also, they are the custodians of nutrition in homes. So that means they've also adopted the processed, kind of foods and all that which we are giving our families.
Kind of foods.
Yeah.
And sometimes not by choice.
Not by choice, and that's why we want to come to how then is the impact of policy, in terms of talking about how to halt this and reverse the trends.
Yes.
How important then is policy, in terms of advising how we can actually reverse these trends?
One, policy is key. We must come up with evidence-based policies. Policies that are based not on theory, but on research. And this research should be multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral kind of research. So that's one. It is beyond agriculture. Now, I've seen policies, designing evidence-based policies is key too. We must collaborate between policy making and implementation. Right now, we have a devolved system. We could have policies, but these policies have not been domesticated through action plans, and it become part of the performance contract of the governors. So those policies must find their way into the county integrated development plans, which are basis for resource allocation. So we need to go to that level. So that is now at the policy level. We must also constantly engage the media, including the vernacular stations, so that we demystify issues of nutrition.
Shocking enough that women are leading in terms of, being overweight or being obese, and definitely what that portends for the population.
I will challenge the other stakeholders to be more accountable. Right now, previously we were trying to fight undernutrition in Turkana and the other communities. Now we should focus on fighting Indian malnutrition, which is obesity and overweight.
Thank you so much. Our time has run out,
yes,
but we hope to have this conversation again, just breaking down some of the issues that you brought up with us.
Yes.
So thank you, and we hope to see you again here next time on the program.
Thank you.
So thank you also back at home for tuning in. Hope that you've gained a lot. You've understood what childhood malnutrition and childhood and adult nutrition is all about. So we hope to see you again next time. My name is Marie Yambo.
Thank you.